and welcome you to a venue in your own town, but it's really wonderful to meet you all. I've met, by the look of it, about 2/3 of you so far tonight. And I think it's pretty fair to say that I'm a hugely proud Kiwi, and I'm sure the reason that you guys are here tonight that you are as well. I've just come from San Diego, where sadly we lost the semi-final this afternoon in the America's Cup racing, so I'm a bit disappointed about that. However, I think we're still about first in the series. The number of you that I've spoken to tonight about the really exciting things you're doing here in San Francisco, or more particularly in the United States, is really heartwarming for me. You know, we are a small couple of islands in the bottom of the South Pacific, a long way from everywhere, and it's massively important that we get into these types of markets wherever we are around the world. David Teese, the co-founder of KEA, is here with us tonight. You better put your hand up, David. He's a real PhD, not one that's been given a lot of work. We actually met each other for the first time in 2000 at the Knowledge Wave conference, and David suggested it would be a really good idea if we had an organisation around the world that joined Kiwis together, and that's how KEA got started. We've got 35,000 members around the world at the moment, and in 180 odd countries. And everybody that I meet when we have meetings like this, and I do this a lot, are passionate about New Zealand and want to do what they can to help. So the question that I was asked to talk about tonight is, how can you help? I might start by saying we've just recently conducted quite an extensive qualitative and quantitative research paper on what Kiwis think about investing back in their own country. Most of the work was done in the UK. We interviewed about 500 people, and in particular in the UK, about 32 of the high net worth Kiwis that live there. 13% of those that were surveyed said they were interested in investing back in New Zealand, either with their time, in terms of mentoring and helping, or with their money. We don't specifically want to target just money. We want to target people's expertise, and we want to target people who want to really help the country. And that really was what David and I thought of at the beginning, because there's just, you know, such a huge number of New Zealanders with just massive talents. We call it KEA, the talent network, of the global talent network, and we want to be able to see whether people who are interested in contributing back to New Zealand are actually given the opportunity to. There hasn't really been an opportunity, particularly in the sort of work I do, which is investing in startup companies. Every single company I've invested in is New Zealand based. It's scalable, it's able to go global, and some of them have been tragically unsuccessful. Some of them have done relatively well, and a few of them look incredibly good. And it's those are the ones that we want to carry ourselves through with. It's interesting, we had Vinod Khosla in Auckland last week. In fact, last Friday, he and I spoke at a conference in Auckland. Now, he's a co-investor with me in a business called Lanzatech. This is quite an interesting story, which I think will sort of set the tone for how New Zealand businesses can actually foot it on the world stage. Two scientists came to see me in my office 5 years ago with a test tube with some bacteria in it. And they said these bacteria could transform the way we can deal with waste and the way we can create renewable energy. And what they told me they would be able to do was convert carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide into ethanol and other valuable chemicals. So I donated them $100,000 at the time, thinking it'd be great if that turns into some sort of return one day. That company now is valued at about 1.5 billion, and that's only 5 years later. We've done deals across the world already, and the first demonstration plant is due to complete in December. That's with Bao Steel in China. If that works, and we're totally confident it will based on all the research we've done, with a smaller demonstration plant at Glenbrook in South Auckland, they'll start to build their first plant in February, which will be ready beginning of 2012. Now, if we converted just the Bao Steel plants in China we could produce something like 800, I think it's 800 billion gallons of ethanol. So what happened, the model for this particular company is that the businesses we sign up with pay for the plant, and then we share the profits with them. And a plant, $100 million plant should make something like 60 million a year in profit. So I'm hoping 2 or 3 winners like that will actually put New Zealand on the map, and that's where I've invested my money in those types of startups. So how can we get Kiwis around the world excited about those sort of ventures? We want to somehow come up with a new medium for communicating these things to our Kiwi diaspora. First of all, we've got a new CEO who's been with us for about 6 months now. Her name is Sue Watson, Dr. Sue Watson, and she's doing some great stuff for us. We've got a fantastic bunch of KEAs up in New York who are helping us with a new digital media platform. We've recognised that email is almost archaic these days and not the way really to communicate, and so we're going to have a club of 1,000 KEAs around the world, which will be our sort of world-class New Zealand network that we'll use for the higher end of the investment scale. People are really into making big decisions on putting their money into larger investments, and the rest of the people that we want to communicate across, maybe around 700,000 New Zealanders around the world, will be very much based around social media. We've got Craig Neville-Manning, who's head of engineering for Google, sort of heading up the team. We've got teams being developed in different parts of the world, and I think by about this time next year we'll have something really exciting from a digital platform point of view for all of you to participate in. The other thing that you could think about doing is what we'll be able to do with this new platform is be able to connect people much better than we have in the past. So theoretically at the moment we have a searchable database. If someone in New Zealand wants to try and find an expert in their field somewhere in the world, they can find them. It doesn't work anywhere near as well as it should, and we believe this new platform is actually going to be designed to do that. And that's where we hope, if someone in New Zealand reaches out and wants some help, that somebody like you will actually offer some help to them, either to help them develop a market, to give them some technical advice, etc. This little place we're standing in tonight is the Kiwi landing pad, and it's sort of the beginning or the genesis of this idea coming to fruition. We have 20 desks here. They're for rent for people coming up from New Zealand. There's 15 of the 20 already rented. I think we've been going, James, is it 3 or 4 months, or 4 months? And to me, it just proves. I mean, I've talked to several of you tonight that have landed here, started your businesses. One guy in particular, incredibly surprised with how much business he's doing already. I think New Zealanders, I'm absolutely passionate that we can do much, much more than we realise ourselves. And I thought the best thing really was to just sort of wet your whistle on the sorts of things I think we can do, and to open the floor up to some questions, because I know, we've just been through Rugby World Cup, yay. We've got America's Cup coming here 2/13, and I'm as one of the largest private funders of Team New Zealand, I'm incredibly optimistic that we can do really well there. And that means that this city is going to be sort of an international landing pad for a lot of people, including a lot of Kiwis, and we could do something very special here.